Hello Pisces, and welcome to my channel, Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus placements, looking at your connection between you and the person that you are dealing with and are needing to learn the most from right now. We'll be pulling for all three sides of the connection, so we'll look at your energy toward it, their energy toward it, and the energy in between it, the concept being that there are three sides to every story, so we'll be looking at your version of the truth, their version of the truth, and this higher level unbiased truth in the middle. This middle section is looking at what is the deeper purpose of the connection and the best way for you to move forward in order to align further with your higher self. Friendly reminder that these are general readings and they are not here to resonate fully for everyone, and they won't resonate fully for everyone. So do please remember to take what does resonate and helps your personal situation and leave what does not. On that note, the whole reading can be reversed. If that is the case for you, that just know that that is totally fine and totally normal. Again, the point is to take what helps and leave what doesn't. Last thing is that any information on the extended reading or on booking a personal reading or coaching session with me is in the description box below. All right, Pisces, let's jump on in and see what we've got for you guys today. We're going to start with overall energy for with the oracle cards, and then we'll dive in to the story a little bit deeper with tarot as we progress in the reading. So we're going to start with the overall energy, Pisces, for your side of the connection to the person you're dealing with and needing to learn the most from right now. This is Pisces side of this connection. You have fate. With healing. Interesting. Okay. So this is definitely a connection that at one point felt like fate. Felt like you and this person were supposed to meet. And to be honest with you, I feel like you were. You were supposed to meet this person. I feel like they have a very important role in your life, or like specifically in your healing journey. Because obviously with this healing card, I feel like this connection has pushed you into some deeper healing here. Now with the wild card and confusion, I feel like this connection gives kind of that vibe of like, what the hell was that? Or like, what the hell just happened? Or, what do I make of this in some sort of a sense? Almost like some things were very unexpected and ultimately very impactful. So I feel like we've got a lot to jump into today, but let's start with this person's, or let's keep going. Let's move to this person's energy toward you, Pisces. Boundaries. This person has a wall up here. A pretty sturdy wall up. And with this reciprocity card, then they have growth with quality time and then codependency. Okay. With this reciprocity card, I feel like there is a lack of that from them because of this wall that they have up with this, because like this is like a chain linked fence. It feels like it's kind of built, they've built this fence, this wall around them to keep people out. And I feel like that includes you. Now, I'm not saying, like, I feel like sometimes, maybe there's moments where they let you in, or moments where they're vulnerable, or there is kind of a deeper connection. But I feel like overall, this person is very much in a defensive place, in a place of keeping you out, of pushing you away. And I feel like that, it's interesting because I do feel like they see the potential here, but it's almost like at the same time they're pushing it away, which is obviously going to be confusing for you. Now with this quality time and this growth card, I feel like this person there is some growth that's needed here in order for them to be able to drop their guard a little bit, because again, it feels very like, I felt it as soon as I pulled this boundaries card, it feels very like keeping people at arm's distance, just very rigid. Is a good way to describe that energy. And so I feel like in this connection, you know, there was or is a lot of potential here, but it just feels like this person can't seem to let you in enough to really create that potential. So let's see what we've got in between the connection. In between, truth of this connection between Pisces and the person they're dealing with. Ego. Ooh, okay. Ego is in the way. Ego's in the way of this connection. Then you have codependency again. And then unfinished business. I feel like that's, both of these cards are relevant, but I'm going to stick with these two because I feel like these really tell the full story. It feels like ego is in the way here. Now, one thing to note about ego that I try to make super clear in my readings is that our ego, we all have one, and it's not to be demonized. Like, your ego's primary goal is survival, and it's incredibly important to have an ego because it is what keeps you from stepping in front of a bus. But the problem arises whenever we allow our ego to make decisions for us, because your ego is going to want to put you in situations that it knows it can survive, even if those situations aren't what's best for you. So your ego will keep you both pushing away love in people who provide it to you and chasing it in people who don't. And sometimes when we're not aware of these patterns, we can keep ourselves stuck in the cycle of desiring more than we've experienced, yet finding ourselves back in the same place. And I feel like in this connection, specifically, I feel like with this person, I feel like they have this tendency to really push away good things here, yet they desire whatever it is that, you know, that potential is, which makes things, again, really complicated and really confusing for you because you're going to feel this push and pull. This codependency card, you know, codependency is the way, is a dynamic in connections where we basically say, like, I need you to be something for me in order for me to feel loved or valued or good enough for love. And it keeps us attached to people in an unhealthy manner, in a way that might actually harm the relationship and our healing. So I feel like we'll have to jump a lot more into like what that really is talking about, because sometimes we don't realize that we're dealing with people who struggle with codependency, or that we ourselves are codependent, and how that impacts our relationships. I mean, I used to be someone who was incredibly codependent. I identified my value was determined by how much other people found me valuable. So if somebody rejected me, or if somebody didn't love me in the way that I deserved, I took that as immediate reflection of how much value I had. And one of the things we really have to remember in our relationships is that people don't determine our value. We do, right? So I feel like there's a lot to unpack here, which kind of seems to be the theme for this round of love readings. I feel like I've been getting really deep into the energies, but let's keep going. Overall theme of this reading for Pisces. What does Pisces need to know about this connection? Destined soul ties. So this was very fated. It's like you and this person were supposed to meet. You love me, unresolved issues. I was disillusioned. Okay. You and this person were it kind of gives like soul contract vibes. Like, you know, there was this reason that you and this person were supposed to meet for your individual paths, individual growth, individual healing. And I feel like typically when I see that kind of dynamic, it can be an incredibly painful connection because it triggers you into some really deep healing, which I said from the very beginning that I felt like this connection was doing that. Now, I feel like in the beginning, this person maybe presented themselves as someone who wasn't as closed off, like they were a little bit more open, or they would say all the right things, maybe there was some love bombing. And then, as time kind of went on, their limitations kind of started becoming clear. They started becoming more and more distant. They started putting up the walls that I feel like I felt immediately in their energy. And it's hard because I feel like, with this You Love Me card, I feel like that this person like cares about you and loves you, or, has desire here. But so that I feel like keeps you kind of invested in the connection, but things never seem to progress to the point that you are ultimately desiring and also deserving of, which is going to be hard for you because you see that potential, you're holding on for it, you see glimpses of it in this person, but then when it comes down to it, it never really seems to be to come to fruition. So yeah, I think that it's really hard when you're dealing with these kinds of connections, because it puts you in a position where you don't want to give up on it because you see that potential, because you see what it could be, but at the same time, it's harming you because you're doing what you can to make it work, and kind of going through hell to be what this person needs, or to be what you think you need to be for this person, and it doesn't seem to matter. Even though I think that the way that this person acts has less to do with you than you might think, and more to kind of do with their own journey. All right, Pisces, let's look here. This is your energy toward this person. There it is. The Ten of Pentacles with the Knight of Swords in reverse. And then there's the Ten of Cups. Oh, okay. Okay. Two of Wands in reverse. The Death. The Knight of Swords. The Six of Cups. The Devil. And then, there you are, is the Queen of Cups here. And then the Knight of Cups in reverse. Okay. Trying to get better at reading the cards off, because you guys yell at me in the comments for that all the time. I really don't mean to not. I just get so carried away with the messages sometimes. Okay, this connection to you represents, like, especially with the Ten of Cups and Ten of Pentacles, like, this is like dream come true. This is my person. It can't be anybody else. It has to be them. And I feel like you feel this way because of the potential that you saw, like, either in the beginning or just throughout the connection. And I feel like it has caused you to kind of push away any other potential outcome. There's kind of this, it has to be them. If it's not them, then I'm never going to be happy, or I'm never going to be loved, or I'm never going to find, anything better. I've never felt this way before, therefore I'll never feel this way again. And I think that has created a lot of complication in the connection, which, I think happens a lot when we do see potential in someone, especially if you haven't experienced anything like this before, the feelings and the spark that's there. But I feel like there's something here that is really needing to be addressed, because there's so much anxiety associated with, like, this connection not working out, like if it didn't work out for some reason, or if this person, like, didn't heal or grow or get to a place where they're capable of being what you need. It's almost like there's this feeling that, you know what this feels like? This feels like labeling somebody as, like, a twin flame or a soulmate. Like, and it's like, this is my person and it's nobody else. And, I will say, I definitely have a bone to pick with the twin flame concept, twin flame community, because I think that it can really glorify unhealthy dynamics and connections, and this idea of, kind of claiming somebody else's journey as your own, which is, like, completely the opposite point of spirituality, which is ultimately about your own journey and your own kind of, path to freedom or healing or whatever that means to you. But I also know what it's like to experience one of those connections that just like slaps you in the face. And I feel like that's what this was. It's one of those connections that really slapped you in the face, that just felt so overwhelmingly optimistic for a really long time, until it didn't anymore, until something happened, something changed. Like I said, this person's energy shifted. But I feel like there's so much potential tied to what you feel that this could be, that it really keeps you holding on and almost like making it impossible for you to picture any other kind of outcome or any other kind of future. And it really, really has you stuck here in a place where you don't have what you need when it comes to this connection, when it comes to the love that you deserve and desire. But there's this part of you that's like, well, I'm just going to take what I can get from this person because it has to be them. So one of the things that I talk a lot about when someone does believe that they're dealing with a twin flame or a divine connection or something of that nature is the ultimate purpose for it, which is the healing that happens. And like I said, the individual growth that happens, and, ultimately getting to this point where you are loved by yourself in the way that you're looking to be loved by the person that you're dealing with. And I feel like that's what this connection is pushing you to do. It's pushing you to heal, to grow, to evolve, to love yourself more than you ever really have. And I think that it's really put you through a lot for sure. But at the same time, I feel like the outcome will be worth it, whether you end up with this person or not. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to these kinds of connections that push us into that healing, we either heal, grow, evolve, and we end up with that person, or we heal, grow, we evolve, and we find somebody, the person that's truly meant for us. And at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter who it is because it ends up being exactly what we need. And I feel like one of the biggest things that we struggle with is when we label someone as like a twin flame or a soulmate or like my person, and we claim them as ours, we then are, and that's where codependency really comes in, because then we claim their healing and their growth as a necessity for our own happiness. And we say, if this person doesn't heal, if they don't grow, if they don't, evolve, then I'm never going to be able to be happy. I'm never going to be able to find love, which is not true. But that does put the power of your happiness in the hands of another human being, which is, again, the opposite of what a spiritual and healing journey is all about, which is about taking your power back and recognizing that your life is a reflection of the love that you have for yourself. And that is going to be reflected back in your relationship. So if you're experiencing relationships with people who aren't loving you in the way that you deserve, it's pushing you to love yourself in the way that you deserve, especially when somebody means a lot to you, because it requires you to take those people off of a pedestal and make sure that you are prioritizing your own needs just as much. And I feel like this connection is one of those that's like incredibly complicated, because it's like there's, again, all of that potential. There's probably a lot of mirroring, a lot of empathy, a lot of things that kind of keep you maybe making excuses for this person or willing to put up with a lot more than you typically would because of that potential and how much love you have for them. But it's like you have to kind of understand, and not just you, this is just anybody who's kind of in this position, that in order for you to receive the love that you desire, whether it's in the form of this person or not, there has to be a point where you say, I am not willing to settle for anything less than what I deserve. And that is the reason that these connections, these like twin flame mirrored connections, are, essentially like built the way that they are, is because there's this desire for this person that stems so deep that the love for yourself has to overpower that in order for true healing and true growth to take place. So it pushes you, again, to love yourself in a way that you never really have had to before. And I feel like this connection is really pushing you to do that. So I feel like, again, that you could be dealing with a twin flame, you could be dealing with a divine connection. At the end of the day, the label doesn't really matter, because it's never about what somebody is to you as much as it is about what their purpose in your life is. And so I do feel like you and this person were very much meant to meet. And I feel like the purpose of it, though, isn't about the romantic union as much as it is about your own individual healing and growth and prioritizing of your needs. The goal is to love ourselves well without harming others, right? We want to prioritize our own needs to the extent that isn't like harmful to others. But the part that we often miss is that it's also about loving others without harming ourselves. And if you are in a position where loving somebody else puts you in a position of being harmed by their inability to love you or treat you well, there's something that needs to be looked out there. And oftentimes we see this a lot in kind of these concepts of the twin flame connection that floats around this community. But all right, let's look at this person's energy toward you. You know, there was a time in my life where I believed I was dealing with a twin flame. You know, still to this day, I think that this person had an incredibly important spiritual impact on my life. They woke me up. My connection to them woke me up. It put me on a spiritual path. It completely transformed me and my view of the world. But at the end of the day, me and that person didn't end up together. And I look back at that now, and like at the time, I would have thought that like there's like no, there was no other option. And if it wasn't that person, I was never going to be happy. I was so certain of that. But then once I moved on, which took a lot of healing, a lot of growth, like I said, a lot of inner transformation, eventually I met my husband. And I the relationship that we have now is so much better than any relationship I ever even thought that I desired. And it's almost like that concept that, yes, you know, I had really wished that that connection had worked out at the time, but the purpose of it in my life was for me to get to a point where I was able to give and receive love in the way that I get to now. It was never about that person. So sometimes, and the reason I have a bone to pick with kind of that twin flame concept is because it makes it so much about the other person, and it really, really appeals to the ego, because it's this concept that like this other person is healing and growing for you because they love you so much. But our healing and our growth should never come from a place of doing it because or for someone else. It should come from a place of doing it for ourselves. And if it becomes from a place of doing it for someone else, it will never be sustained, because it's not coming from a genuine place of I'm doing this, I'm growing, I'm healing, and I'm treating myself better because I love myself enough to do that. So just, I don't know, this reading took a turn. I feel like I probably lost a ton of viewers, but I do feel like there were some things that needed to come through. So let's look at this person's energy toward you, Pisces, reciprocity with boundaries. Because at the end of the day, you deserve to be loved in the way that you desire. And if somebody is incapable of loving you in the way that you desire, you don't deserve to put your life or your happiness on the back burner to wait for that. Okay. Goodness sakes. Two of Cups, Star in reverse, High Priestess in reverse, two Major Arcanas in reverse, 10 of Wands, 5 of Wands. Just so you guys know, I don't always take a card how it comes out. I take a card how it intuitively feels. It should come out for the message. Okay. This person's got a lot going on. First and foremost, yeah, I do feel like there is love here. I feel like they do have feelings for you. However, I feel like those are so incredibly buried. And not buried in the sense that maybe, I mean, they might be aware of them, they might not be. More so by their inability to open up and receive the love that you have to give. I mean, this Star in reverse and this High Priestess in reverse tells this story that this person is very detached from themselves and their own, like, alignment and personal journey, their own healing. Like, this person's got a lot of work to do. And I feel like you probably know that for sure. I feel like this person has a lot of baggage, the 10 of Wands, and that baggage really, really, with the 5 of Wands, gets in the way of not just this connection, but any connection for them, because I feel like they don't know, again, how to open up, you know, because people can only love us to the extent they love themselves. They can only care for us to the extent they care for themselves. They can only treat us as well as they treat themselves. And if you're dealing with somebody who is pushing away love, they're probably also not loving themselves appropriately. So it doesn't ever really have anything to do with us, which is why, again, when we feel like we're dealing with a twin flame, when we take on this accountability or identity of somebody else's journey, we in that moment are saying, this person's healing determines my happiness. And so we will do what it takes to be whatever we think we need to be to push someone to heal, to grow, or sometimes that even means waiting for years and years and years, for somebody else to finally become what we need them to be. But that may or may not ever happen. And one of the things that I've really learned on my own personal journey is that we are all on individual journeys. Every single person is on individual journeys, and healthy relationships align whenever personal journeys align. That's where a healthy relationship is created. When one journey doesn't align with another journey, when you have someone on a path of healing, of growth, of alignment, of, self-awareness and emotional intelligence, and you have someone who's running from all of that, you're trying to force a relationship where two individual journeys aren't able to intersect. And it's hard whenever there is kind of that connection below the surface where you're like, I know how they feel about me on a deeper level, but a lot of people go their whole life without actually connecting to what's going on within them. And a lot of people choose to run away from those deeper parts of themselves because it is easier to do than it is to face them. Facing yourself and taking accountability and doing the healing and doing the work is so incredibly difficult. It's rewarding because it opens you up to really wonderful experiences in this life, such as being able to give and receive love. But this person, and specifically with where they're at right now, I feel like they have a lot of things that they just have not dealt with, and it's created this barrier between them and the rest of the world. So this isn't about you. This isn't about what you can do to push them to heal, or how, lovable you are, how deserving you are, how valuable you are. This is about them. This is about their inability to or their unwillingness maybe even to heal, to grow, to take accountability, to do what they need to do in order to be what it is that you deserve. And the hardest part about these types of connections is that might never change. There is no guarantee, no matter how much you heal, no matter how much you grow, there is no guarantee, even if you believe that this person is your destined twin flame, whatever. There is no guarantee that other people are going to become what you want them to be. The only thing that you have power over is what you do with the information that you have right now. One of my favorite theories is the let them theory. It's Mel Robbins. She actually just released a book on this. And it's all about letting people be who they are and you determining whether or not that is enough for you. There's another book called A Return to Love, and it talks all about how we constantly place other people on a pedestal and we try to make them more important than ourselves. We try to say that their healing and their growth is going to determine our happiness. But when we are trying to change somebody else, we are in some way avoiding our own journey. So I'm not saying this person isn't a twin flame, and I'm not saying that there isn't potential here. What I am saying is that first and foremost, if this connection doesn't work out, you still have the ability to experience the love and the potential that you see in this connection, okay? And second of all, you have absolutely no control over this person, what they do, how they show up. And the best thing that you can do is stop trying to control it, or stop trying to become so attached to, and I say this with nothing but love and understanding for where you're at, okay? I have been there. I have been in a place with someone where I was so certain that if they didn't heal, grow, evolve, that I literally had an entire tarot channel. This was back in 2019. I had an entire tarot channel dedicated to twin flame readings, talking all about, the same things you hear on other channels. And it kept me in a place of being miserable for a really long time, because every single time I saw that this person wasn't changing, I found myself right back at the beginning, where I felt like I was grieving this connection and hurting and feeling like I was never going to be happy and loved. And I see this all the freaking time in this twin flame or just kind of like tarot love reading community. I even have people who put comments on my channel that are like, I don't want the advice, I just want to know what they're thinking and feeling. But that's not what I'm here to do, okay? I'm not here to help you spy on other people. I'm here to help you grow, heal, and evolve so you can attract the love that you are desiring and deserving of. So please know that this reading felt a little bit different than my other one. So I'm sure a lot of people aren't going to like it. But please know that all I want for the people that I read for is for everybody to get to experience the love that is possible for you. And I've learned a lot on my journey. I've learned a lot on the quote unquote twin flame journey. And I've learned that it's never about the person that we're dealing with. It's about how it's pushing us to grow. And the more that we think we need another person to be happy, especially if we attach our healing or our happiness to their healing, the further away we are from receiving the love that we deserve, because we think that it lies in the hands of another person, but it doesn't. It lies in us. And when we learn to love ourselves more than we love the idea of what somebody can be, we then start to attract the love that we've been looking for all along, which is ultimately all that I try to present in these readings. But I know that it's not always that easy. I know that sometimes it can feel so incredibly painful that it feels like there's no other outcome and option. And I want you to know that you're not alone. But you are absolutely deserving of the love that you desire. And if this person doesn't heal, if they don't get their shit together, if they don't figure it out, if they don't wake up, whatever the case is, you can still have that. It just might not be in this person. But I promise you, when you meet the person that you're meant to be with, it won't matter to you. It won't even matter a little bit. So in between this connection, you have ego with codependency. We're going to dive deeper into this connection, looking at the deeper truth and the best way for you to move forward in alignment with your higher self. Like I said, I'm wondering if shoot me a comment if you made it to the end of this reading, because this was very truthful. This was very weird. Spirit took this a different direction, but I felt like it just really needed to go that way. So I hope this resonated with someone out there. Thank you guys so much, as always, for your support of my channel. And I wish you absolutely nothing but love and healing and all of the wonderful things that you deserve and desire on your journey moving forward. All right, bye, Pisces.